and girls, children of all ages. This is not the sideshow.
Woo!
This is not the undercard.
Woo!
This is the main event.
Woo!
Ryan Baldwin here, ready to talk sports and all things sports adjacent with my right-hand man sitting at my left-hand side,
Woo!
the one, the only, Mason Shepard.
So before we get started,
Okay.
I made this list
Uh-huh.
a couple summers ago, right?
Sure.
So because monikers and nicknames. Right?
Okay.
Hear me out.
All right.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Teflon Talker. Like we could go for that for me. It's like I don't know what we would call you. I mean, I got a bunch of lists, man.
The Teflon talker?
Teflon Talker, man. Master at the mic.
Wait, hold on. Doesn't Teflon, stuff sticks to it, right?
No, Teflon means.
Oh, it keeps it from sticking, right?
No,
What
Teflon means unbreakable, basically untouchable, like nothing can phase it. That's basically what
see.
Teflon means.
Okay.
Like it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we need that, man.
Okay.
Just like
Send me your best three, and I'll roll with right-hand man sitting on my left-hand side, and then I'll just do two more, and I'll just be like, oh, the Teflon talker, whatever else.
yeah, whatever. I mean, you can just go with that one because I just spit it out.
Aight.
It doesn't matter to me. Anyway, folks, this is the main event, and we are the main event. Well, I'm more main event Ryan's than the mid card, but anyway.
Boy, we're just coming out swinging today, aren't
Nah,
we?
folks, we are excited to be back here talking sports. Not really much sports adjacent, but
Well, jerseys are sports.
Are they?
They're sports on top or outerwear. The more than adjacent.
Okay, I got you.
All right, well, we'll head right into the Weekend Roundup. And we have a sponsor for the Weekend Roundup. That's right, folks. Today's episode of the Weekend Roundup is brought to you by LeBron James Hairline. That's right, folks. If you need something to disappear faster than a dude on the Maori show who found out that he is not the father, you need LeBron James Hairline.
How are you going to sell that? You
No,
put it in a can?
wait, hold on. I am so sorry, folks. This just in. LeBron James Hairline is already gone. We are unable to supply that to you.
You sell that in a can to people? Is that reverse Bosley? Like instead of Rogaine?
You just need something to go away.
And-
Weren't you
and-
listening to the spot?
Instead of Rogaine, it's no gain. Like
Oh,
that?
I like it. Yeah. Just get rid of all that excess hair. You don't need that anyway.
Oh my god.
Let's start the Weekend Roundup.
Let's go ahead.
Oh, so we start with let's get the golf out of the way because hometown hero Jordan Spieth
Yep.
did win his 13th career title and second straight on Easter Sunday, which I thought was a fun factoid. And he won out in Hawaii, I believe it was. Which,
He's a Longhorn, so I got to support that.
you know what? Playing golf in Hawaii? I don't play much golf, but there'd be worse ways to spend an Easter, right?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, okay, so there's a difference between playing golf and obviously in a tournament in Hawaii versus recreation.
Yeah.
Like if we're out there, because I don't really like golf, but if I'm gonna be recreationally out there, I'd play golf in Hawaii. I'd be bad at it, but I mean, I'd be in Hawaii, so
good for Spieth.
yeah.
Good on you. Congratulations, Mr. Spieth. Another title. On the opposite end, the Texas Rangers are 2-7 in their first 9 games. Bottom in the division, giving up 6.2 earned runs per game, which is the bottom in the entire major leagues.
Yeah. Now you see why I don't follow it anymore. No, seriously, because it was like I had devoted a good hours a night watching baseball with my dad.
Mhm.
Hours. And it was when the Rangers had seed spitter and they were good and whatever. And then getting to those 2 World Series and then they flopped. And I'm just like, I'm spending 4 hours almost watching this slow sport, and for you to lose, I'm done.
Okay, so here's my conspiracy theory for the MLB in general, not just the Rangers.
Okay.
I think the MLB switched the baseballs up again.
Really?
And made it easier to hit home runs with. Yes. So here, listen to these scores so far. First 9 games. Lost to the Blue Jays 10-8.
Okay.
Then 4-3.
Okay.
Won 12-6.
Okay.
Lost 6-4. Lost 4-1. Fine. Won 10-5. Lost 9-6. Lost 7-2. Lost 8-3. Now, I know, it's the Rangers. They have the worst pitching in major leagues right now. Quite a few runs per game themselves.
Yep.
And that's across all major league games, you're seeing a lot of games with like 5+ runs, like for both teams. Like right now, the Twins just won 8-3 earlier today. They put up 8 runs.
Yeah.
Yesterday's scores 8-3, Angels over the Rangers. Orioles put up 5. The Red Sox put up 8. Pirates 5. Mets 5. Marlins 11. Giants 8. Brewers and Cardinals 6 and 5. Rays 9. Cubs 6. Dodgers 9. Mariners 7. Like teams are hitting, and they weren't hitting this well last season. And of course, there's the whole concept. I think we talked about it last semester, where the story came out that the MLB changed the balls that were being used halfway through the season and didn't tell anybody. I think they might have changed it again. Now, I'm sure we'll have to wait and hear, if it is true, some player will speak out about it, and we'll find out. But, man.
I mean, the thing with that is just like, it's one of those things where it's weird in the sense of, you can understand why they're doing it. Because here's the thing, right? Even though there are some people like our dear friend Jennifer who couldn't be on today, folks, we're going to have to wait till next week. But because even she's been like, I want to watch a game go, 0-1, because that's whatever. It's like we're moving in this modern age where it's like, okay, no one wants to see games like that anymore.
Yeah, and I think that, in the age of like clips, people want to see home runs.
Yeah.
Home runs catch the eye over like
exciting,
a 17 strikeout performance,
Yeah, and that's the most exciting part about it. When it's not like, ironically for me, this shows you the type of baseball fan I was. I always liked it when you could run over the catcher just so you could get to home base. Got run over a few times.
Yes, I had at least 2 concussions.
Yeah, but no, seriously. So honestly, I don't know. Do you think that's a bad thing? Do you think that cheats like the quality of like a good hitter? Like what do you think? Because honestly, I could understand doing it for because sports, folks, is also entertainment. So I could understand it for that prospect. But do you think it cheats the sport of baseball?
I think so first of all, I think the biggest controversy around that is that people are gambling on these games, right?
Yeah.
And if you're constantly changing the baseball, not just during the season, but, in and out of seasons, I think that's a big factor in how people bet. Like, imagine you're placing your bets based on last year's baseball because you're trying to follow the trend, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know that the baseballs are now juiced again, so they're going to start hitting more home runs. You would be betting maybe on different teams.
Yeah.
Or you'd be betting like different over-unders on total runs scored and all that.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact sports is a multi-million-dollar industry in a league where there is no salary cap and players can get paid a bunch of money depending on their performance or lose a bunch of money in contract negotiating. In this case for pitchers, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, imagine if the NFL just changed the football size randomly.
Yeah.
And didn't tell anybody. Obviously, it couldn't be huge because players would instantly know. And once you're if you're a pitcher,
I think it would be reversed for the NFL. Like whenever you said they changed ball, I thought something smaller. Which, if we're being honest, technically, with how big guys are in the NFL, that would honestly make the game harder. Because think about it, we're not talking about like the ones you can hold in the palm of your hand, but like the souvenir ones you get at a Cowboys game where it's like a Cowboys ball or
if
whatever.
they just went from like NFL to college size ball.
Exactly. Now imagine 2 grown men trying to get a ball a lot smaller. Honestly, that makes it harder. It makes it harder for receivers.
Well, and you couldn't do it like a lot without somebody noticing. But
it wouldn't really make a productive difference.
Right. But think about receivers. They spend like hours a week. They probably spend a couple hours every day during practice. Imagine like you're catching a football for at least a couple hours pretty much every single day. Maybe your rest day. And even on your rest day, depending on what kind of player you are, maybe you're at the machine that, just shoots the footballs out and you're turning and catching. A inch difference can be a big deal in, catching it. Because you're so used to having your hands at a certain spot when you catch.
Because you're having your hands like this and so the ball can just...
Or if it's an inch bigger, then it'll bounce off on and you can't judge it right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big deal. I never understood the changing to baseball to begin with.
I don't even know how you do that.
They changed the density of the core and how much it's wrapped around and stuff, and that changes. and they changed the weight by like very small amounts. But at the highest level, those small amounts can be a big difference. So I don't like the fact that they changed baseballs, but I understand they're trying to make the game more exciting or, make it more defensive, but I don't think that should be on Major League Baseball to decide. And it definitely should. They definitely should not be switching it mid-season without telling anybody.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't.
If they,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when you're the MLB, if the NFL came out and we're like, okay, guys, we're gonna do college rules. As long as you get 1 foot in, it's a catch. I feel like making those more well known is like, okay, well, you're the committee, you're the league, you can make that rule.
But that's the thing, right? Because the NFL would come out and there's no hiding that.
Exactly.
Like they have to come out and say 1 foot in is a catch.
Yeah.
If baseball would come out and say, okay, guys, here's the exact difference in baseballs from last year to this year.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: the shady thing about it for the MLB is that they own now the major distributor and creator of baseballs.
Yeah.
For the U.S., they own Rawlings basically. So
doesn't surprise me.
They can change it any way they want,
Yep.
and don't necessarily have to tell anybody.
No,
like we saw last year. So
yeah, just leave it to the people at ESPN and Sports Science to figure out.
Yeah, an astrophysicist, I think it was.
Yeah, it was an astrophysicist who was like, "Yeah, nope, these are not the same balls."
Yeah. But again, if they came out at the start of the season and said, "Hey guys, this is the exact changes. It's lighter by X amount," then fine. Whatever. But yeah. Other interesting MLB note. I don't know if you saw this, but the San Francisco Giants had the first woman to coach on field in a Major League Baseball game. And it wasn't like a publicity stunt where it's like, oh yeah, she started for one game. No, the first base coach got ejected, and she was actually the next person up to be on the field. So Alyssa Nakin, first woman to ever coach on field in the MLB. Congratulations. And again, I like the fact that it wasn't just like a publicity, like, oh yeah, come see her as the first one. No, she actually earned the spot. And then when it was time to be the next, not man up, next woman up, she was there and she hopped
I feel like
in.
there's nothing wrong with saying next man up, only because, it is whoop man. So you can say next man up. It's just, remember the whoa in front of it.
Next person up.
Next person up. I get it.
So,
but good for her. It's always very nice to see, women in male predominated sports and to see what they can do. I love the Cardinals having a female assistant. Like, she's a female assistant coach. Not she's like, the special teams, water carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, she's an assistant coach who actually like talks to the players and tells them kind of what to do a little bit. So
and as a first base coach, you're kind of helping the flow of the of the on-field
congratulations
product.
to them. It's always good to see. I do agree with you, like when it's a publicity stunt like they were doing with the Sarah Fuller thing with Vanderbilt when she kicked the extra point. I'm like, okay, you don't play because it was like what you're talking about. She's a soccer player, obviously, because she plays
was not
here.
The starting kicker.
Exactly. She was not the starting kicker.
Sarah Fuller kick an extra point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was also like people was like, oh, this is groundbreaking. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, this isn't to be mean, but this is the truth. There are female kickers in high school football. I'm not saying it's not impressive. It is. She's the first one doing it in a college game. That's great. But but what people don't know, and this is why it kind of bothers me, is like there are females that play corner. There are females that, I don't think they're gonna make a female a running back, but there probably are some. There are females that are wide receivers and whatever. I would just shed light on that.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, she kicked an extra point. That's great, but it's not like she threw a touchdown or caught an interception or anything.
It's not. Yeah, she didn't. She was not the starting kicker. She didn't earn the spot. It's not like the starting kicker went down with an injury and she was the only person to that could do it. Right.
That was the thing that surprised me when I found out she was here playing soccer, because I was like, but I thought she was a football player. I had thought, because I hadn't heard of her. I thought she was like someone who was on Vanderbilt's football team as a kicker, and she just finally got her chance to do it. And then I'm finding out, no, she plays soccer. She did that as a gimmick,
right,
and it worked.
But anyway, good for Alyssa Nakin.
Yeah,
maybe that's the start of a trend. I would not be upset about that at all. But people working their way up, and then she was ready to go, and then from there it's then maybe she's on the field full time at another spot, and then maybe you got a bench manager here in the next few years.
My thing is, sports are sports. You know, it's like in my way of viewing it is if I saw our little Sarah Baskins, who I love, if I saw her wearing that headset and holding that Waffle House menu, I'd be like, you go, Sarah, because you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, I would love, honestly, in a parallel universe, like Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would love to see Sarah coaching Dallas and Jennifer coaching the Giants.
Oh, that'd be a great
That would be
head-to-head matchup.
fantastic. I would love it so much. But no, in all seriousness, no, I mean, I never really understood, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's more of a this should have been sooner type deal. I've never understood like, oh, this is the first female ref, and like, well, there could have been female refs a long time ago. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. But it's good to celebrate.
I'm not denying it's very good to celebrate them. It's just like, you know, it's kind of like those moments where it's like, okay, when you see a black child and a white child hugging each other, you know, across the street. I hate how that gets put on social media. It's like, oh my God, that's the greatest thing ever. It's like, well, we should
that
be
should
like
an expected
that's
thing.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It should be an expected thing. Women should be allowed to do, you know, coach, referee, whatever. That shouldn't be like, oh, she's the. It's like that should be an expectation.
Yeah. Let's do both. Let's celebrate it.
Yeah,
and
of
expect
course.
It.
Yeah, celebrate it, expect it. You know, but that's just my thing.
Agreed. Over into the NHL, the Dallas Stars are have the first wild card spot with a game in hand over the Nashville Predators and 4 points over the Vegas Golden Knights. Looks like we'll have playoff hockey in Dallas again. Still a few games to go, but you know me, I'm a big Stars fan, so I've been waiting for this for a while. But man, if they just I know you don't watch a lot of hockey, but let me tell you.
I'm like you right now with wrestling. You started talking about hockey.
Yeah.
I zoned out.
Let me just describe it for you then, because
Go ahead.
they have a good, solid young core, but not really enough to kind of finish it. It's kind of like the Grizzlies where you're looking at it, or maybe the Timberwolves where it's like, man, there's a good core here, but we're still not quite ready to take it up a level and finish it off.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you know, they made the playoffs, so our coach, who has been on the hot seat, I don't know if he's going to make another season run. Who knows? But if he drops out in the first round, I imagine he would probably go ahead and get fired, and they'll move on to somebody else. I like the guy, but I just don't know that he's a young man's or a young player's type of coach. He seems like he's pretty good in an already established environment.
Makes sense.
Side note in the NHL, though, did you know that an NHL team has the longest active postseason streak of any North American sports team?
Really?
Including MLB, NHL, and NFL, the Pittsburgh Penguins have now hit 16 straight seasons into the playoffs.
Huh. I used to, again, it's one of those things that I used to follow hockey too, but that didn't last long.
Sure.
I mean, what kind of got me into it was like, Sidney Crosby and stuff like that, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and
who's still there? Yep.
Yeah, I know. I started watching it. That's actually, if I was going to get back into hockey, that would be my favorite team. It's just something about the Pittsburgh Penguins that just stuck with me up until obviously to where I am now, where I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was kind of cool too, because think about like how many times the Patriots went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it is active streaks, so it's not like all-time streaks. But think about all the good teams over the past few years that we've seen in baseball, football, and basketball. And we think like, man, they see like even the Warriors have not gone 16.
No, they haven't.
16 straight years. And that was like the team that like kept going and going and going.
16. Woo! 16-time world champ, Ric Flair. I'm sorry, I had to. It was worth it.
Fair enough.
But no, I get you. No,
it's cool.
Do you remember? It was the early 2000s where in the ESPN graphics, this does correlate to this, where they would have Boston, and then they would be Boston in one graphic, and it would be the Celtics, the Patriots, the Red Sox,
and the Bruins,
and the what?
The Bruins.
Yeah, and then it would be Los Angeles, and then it would be the Lakers. I don't know if they included the Rams in there or not.
No, because at that point
they
were
St. Louis, but I think they still had like an old Rams graphic, but they weren't including the Rams specifically. But you had them, and then you had them, and then you would have Pittsburgh, and you have the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates and stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, it's always crazy to think about the lineage and the history of like certain teams doing things. And, as much as football is the main sport that gets followed, and even basketball, at least in America, there are a lot of teams that have gone way further than any football team or basketball. Well, I won't say basketball because there are teams that have gone to championships and won like 11 of them. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but no, that is interesting. I'm not a hockey fan, but that's interesting enough.
60. That's all the way back to 2006.
Yes.
And think about you had the big three Celtics, you had the super team Warriors,
Yep.
you had the big three Heat, you had the Tom Brady Patriots, you had the Eli Manning and Peyton Manning teams, the Giants, and all these teams where you're like, man, they go to the playoffs every single year. Apparently not as much as the Penguins.
Nope. I mean, so they've gone 16 times, obviously.
16 straight seasons.
16 straight seasons. Now, that obviously doesn't mean they've won every time.
No, that
they did, okay, but here's the thing. This is what I wanted to ask. If they did, would that make them the greatest, because we always talk about who the greatest athlete is, because it includes every sport. With the Pittsburgh Penguins, if they won 16 times, would they be the greatest sports team ever?
Oh, yeah. If they won 16 times, think about the next highest person. That's Bill Russell on the Celtics.
That's what I'm saying.
And that was like 10, I'm pretty sure. I think they went 11 and won 10.
No, it's 11.
Is it 11?
It's 11.
Maybe they went 12 and won 11.
Yeah, they went 12, won 11.
So, yeah, if they won 16, then for sure.
So, technically, the Celtics are the greatest athletic team in history because they've won more than anybody else ever has.
They also stuck together a lot longer.
Yeah, they did.
Like, I know you're gonna hate me for it, but if you had the '90s Bulls for 10 years, they probably win 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
so they at least put a run for their money. The fact that it only was 6 years is actually a shame.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the '90s Bulls is you have to remember just because they played together, that locker room, they really didn't get along with each other that much.
True.
A lot of those, as we've already discussed, this isn't a Jordan topic, but they played with Mike. Doesn't mean they liked him. They liked the fact that he won, but they didn't like him.
True. Yeah, and I think a lot of people didn't exactly enjoy being around Rodman either.
No, they didn't.
Or Pippen.
No.
Pippen seemed like a nice guy. But
Pippen was nice, but everybody knew, just like we're seeing now, Pippen always got butt hurt because he always felt because he even said about The Last Dance, he was like, I should be in it more.
Yeah.
And it's well, Scotty, this ain't about it.
First of all, this is a Michael Jordan production.
Yeah, and that's
the '90s Bulls was. So let's not pretend you were gonna have any other.
Yeah,
role.
That's the thing. So it's just Scotty was always just he always wanted more than everybody was like, no, Scotty, you're great, and Jordan couldn't have gotten here without you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going. No, bro, just no.
So, Pittsburgh Penguins, congratulations. 16 straight seasons into the postseason. Speaking of postseason, NBA playoffs. Game 1 is done in round 1. Did you get a chance to watch any of it?
I've heard about it, but no.
Well, Saturday, the Mavericks started off with a loss. They kicked things off and got
they
soundly.
kicked things off in the worst way possible.
Yeah, no Luka. It doesn't look like Luka's going to be there for at least game 2. I'm guessing game 3 because he's only been doing light workouts in practice.
Yeah.
And it's a calf strain, and we know how calf strains go in Dallas. So, best case scenario, I think you're down 2-1. And that's best case without Luka in these 3 games where you can take a game off the Jazz and be down 2-1, and maybe Luka comes back. Worst case, he doesn't come back and you go down you just get swept. You can't even win a game without Luka, which I think is actually a distinct possibility. Because I just don't know if Jalen Brunson and Dinwiddie, they're good, but they're not going to be good enough to take down Mitchell. And Rudy Gobert only had 5 points on 1 shot last night, but he pulled down 17 rebounds. There is nobody that can contest Rudy Gobert in the middle on us, and you need Luka to be able to kind of pull that mismatch out in a pick and roll situation and be able to facilitate that. Jalen Brunson can do it, just not as effectively as Luka can.
Yeah, I don't know, when it comes down to the NBA Finals and the playoffs and when they start, that's one of the things. It's I've learned this throughout my years of watching. It is the first game always sets the tone.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing about the NBA playoffs in the finals is home court advantage really doesn't mean anything to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Where it's like you can get, because it's not like football in the playoffs where it's like, oh, if you have to play me on my field, you know, you're gonna have to deal with a lot. When you're playing in somebody else's gym, it's like, okay, we've been here, like, because you know, obviously with the NBA playing 82 games, you face certain teams more than twice, obviously. So it's like, okay, we've been in here before. With the NFL, you could be Tennessee and not have Green Bay on your schedule and then be like, oh, we have to, you know, even though they're not in the same division, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, I have to go to Lambeau? Like, what? Like, that's different.
Miss me going to Lambeau, dude. Lambeau in January. I wouldn't even go. I don't think I would go there to watch a game. I'd just be so cold the whole time.
Like, I'm staying at home.
Next game up was Timberwolves Grizzlies, and Timberwolves took down the Grizzlies in game one, 130 to 117. A ridiculous performance from Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns, Cat. 36 points for Edwards, 29 for Towns. Solid performance. And I hate Patrick Beverly, but
everybody
he put up 10 points. And Ja Morant, despite his 32 points, not able to cap it off for the Grizzlies. They just got a bit outplayed. The rest of the team did.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but should be a good series. I always like watching Ja play.
I think a lot of people do. Like, they're like, this guy's so exciting.
Yeah, and I bet they'll put up a bit of a better fight in game two.
Yeah.
Next up was Raptors at 76ers, and the 76ers ran away with that one, 131 to 111. And then I'll be honest, I don't follow a lot of 76ers basketball, but never heard of Tyrese Maxey. But this man put up 38 points on the Toronto Raptors.
Maxey's one of their star players.
Yeah,
or at least top player.
And this has got to feel bad if you're the Raptors, because you held Joel Embiid to 5 of 15 for 19 points, which is pretty good, and you still got beat by 20.
Yeah.
Because you still got to deal with Harden. Harden only went 6 of 17 with 22 points, and they still just completely demolished the Raptors. I'm sorry. I know it's your Toronto, but I don't think they got the 76ers this year, man.
To be honest, that wouldn't surprise me. So it's just like,
although I think at least one or two of the players, 76ers players, aren't vaccinated, so they would not be able to play in Toronto. Maybe that's a turning point.
We only want vaccinated people.
Oh man! And then capping off Saturday was the Warriors over the Nuggets, and the Warriors have found, I don't know how, but they found a third splash brother, as Jordan Poole put up 30 points on 5 of 7 from 3 and 9 of 13 from the floor. This is a game where Steph Curry came off the bench, and they still won by 16 over the Nugs. And my poor MVP pick, Nikola Jokic. Boy, it's going to be hard to beat the Warriors. I think, except for the Mavs and the Grizzlies, I think every upper seeded team won, and by a hefty margin, which kind of just shows you how much of a difference there is between like the top teams this year and the bottom 4 teams, even in the playoffs. Like the top of each conference, super stacked.
Yeah.
For Sunday's games, it was the Heat over the Hawks by 24 points. Jimmy Butler had 21. PJ Tucker had 16. And the main difference was Trae Young going 1 of 12 from the field for the entire game.
Wow.
8 points from Trae Young. I think I saw an 0 for 7 from downtown. I think I saw it tied for his worst shooting performance of his career.
Huh.
So, if Trae can turn around, maybe they have a chance, but it was like not even close with him not shooting very well. And I think the Heat are definitely the better overall team.
Yeah, well, Trae Young, focus less on fighting Jimmy Butler, and I'm just saying you can.
True though. Facts.
The funniest thing about that whole altercation was Trae Young's like, I'm not gonna let him push me around, so I'm gonna do the class thing that males do, and we're gonna go nose to nose. And Trae Young's
like
the top
right,
of his head
right
is like right.
Right up to his chest.
That made me laugh. He's like, I'm not gonna let him push me. So he's got his like, what you want? It's like he's like, what you want to do? But his head is on his chest, and it's just like,
The next game on Sunday is, I think, it was game one of what's going to be the best series of maybe the entire NBA playoffs. I'm not sure about that. It may be too early for that, but the Celtics Nets series should be absolutely
That should be
fire.
very good.
Celtics won by 1 point on a game-winning spinning layup by Jason Tatum, who put up 31 points, 23 from Brown, 20 from Smart, 20 from Horford. They played like basically an 8-man rotation, or really call it 6. Because there was only a few guys that played more than 20 minutes. And, yeah, they beat the Nets. Despite Kyrie, I'd say what you will about Kyrie, but he did put up 40.
Well, here's the thing, and I've even heard people say this. Kyrie personally is, if
Is he your LeBron?
No.
I look at LeBron?
No, because here's the thing about Kyrie, okay? If you took his brain and you bowled it toward a drinking straw, it would look like a kernel of corn going into a storm drain. So,
What? I've got the mental image. I'm just like,
yeah, think
how?
about
Why?
Because this is the thing with personally with the comments that he makes, the earth is flat and the vaccinations, whatever. It's like, if brains were gasoline, he couldn't propel a fleece motorcycle around a raindrop. But it's one of those things where it's like on the court, this guy produces. We can't.
I can't tell if that's the Canadian in you or the Texarkana in you.
No, that's the wrestling fan in me that is making those. Well, actually, being Southern does have something to do with like the Southern and being the wrestling fan. No, but like in all seriousness, on the court, no one can deny that Kyrie produces.
Yep.
That is, because that's the thing. Whenever someone talks about Kyrie, excuse me, that's never been the question. It's never been like, why are the Nets going to put what's? No, he produces. It's just what goes on up here. It's just baffled a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are just like, what is wrong with this guy? And like, not like he's, Kanye crazy, but at the same time, it's just like his opinions on certain things, the way he views certain things, and just the mental, I think it was this season or last season where he's like, I'm not mentally here yet, so I'm just not going to show up. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but no one denies he's a great player. We just don't know what's wrong with him.
Well, I think the one good takeaway if you're a Nets fan is that Kevin Durant only shot 9 of 24 from the field. He did put up 23, but only 9 of 24, and you only lost by a point. So,
yeah,
he shot pretty poorly, and he only lost by a point. If he can get it together, you should be pretty squared away.
Yeah, pretty much. Kevin Durant gets it together. I think the Nets take this home.
Also, I was kind of hoping Ben Simmons would make his debut. Just because not because I'm like a fan. I just want to see, like, after all that, it's that fascination, right? Like, I want to see, like, what kind of player is he going to come out and be? Is he going to be like old Ben Simmons where he could actually like ball a little bit, or is he just going to come out and absolutely lay an egg? Because I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
Either we see a good basketball player or we get memes out the wazoo.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm fine either way with it, but I was kind of hoping he would make his debut, and he did not.
Nope.
And then after that, the Bucks took down the Bills in a very low-scoring game, 93-86. Nobody could contest with Giannis Antetokounmpo with Greek Freak.
Wait, who are they? You mean the Bulls?
The Bucks beat the Bulls.
You said Bill?
Did I say Bills?
Yeah.
Bucks over Bulls. I did almost say it again. You got him.
I was like, wait, what?
Bucks over Bulls.
It's easy to do that, man. Like,
Bulls.
When
Bulls.
people say like, oh yeah, the Bucks did this, I'm like, Tampa's playing right now.
The who? Despite Vujovic 24 points and DeRozan 18, DeRozan got his 18 on 6 of 25 shooting.
Yeah.
It's not very good. And Vujovic got his on 9 of 27.
Well, wasn't it determined like DeMar DeRozan, as far as playoffs go, or is not necessarily the best?
Yeah, he hasn't shown up that well. But, I mean, to be fair, none of the Bulls did. They shot 32% from the floor and 18% from 3.
Goes to Jordan, man. I'm telling you, they need it.
But yeah, I just also don't think that anybody can contend with Giannis. They just don't have an answer.
No, they don't. And here's the thing. Giannis is one of those guys where it's like, you may look at him and be like, okay, he's one-dimensional with the certain things that he's able to do. You know what I mean?
But he does it
so well. And if you don't have anybody who can stop him, you pretty much don't have a chance. Yep. Unless you're able to score more than you're letting him, which is very hard to do.
And then the last game to round out game one, Phoenix Suns over to New Orleans Pelicans, 110-99. And my boy, the man who took this team to the next level, Chris Paul, put up 30.
Oh my
with
god.
10 assists, becoming the oldest player, by the way, to ever put up 30 points and 10 assists in a playoff
So are
game.
you going to show? Are you going to show up tomorrow just to tell this to Parker?
Sure. Because I think that was one of the things, right? It was like I put Chris Paul as one of the most underrated guys because
He said Chris Paul was overrated because, I mean, if you think about it, what he said wasn't completely wrong. He's like, well, there's many people who say he's underrated. You know,
the deal is like he's underrated in the idea that, like, again, in my opinion, for like MVP, if you take him away from the Suns like you did in the bubble, the Suns were not a playoff team.
Yeah.
Like for all of that year, even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Then you throw him on there, and they instantly jump to the 1 seed, not 1 year, but 2 years. The fact that he took that team that high is pretty insane.
In that span of time.
And he gets like no MVP buzz. He hasn't made the finals in the last 2 years.
Nope.
Despite what he's done for that team. And he's not even the quote unquote star, right? Devin Booker is, and he still put up 25 points.
Yeah. I don't know. I think CP3 has just always been, I don't know, his style is just very low key.
Yeah.
Like,
he doesn't dunk, so he's not flashy.
Exactly.
He's got some good. He's got some flashy passing.
But
though.
see, that's the thing. When I was growing up, Chris Paul was like that Steve Nash, where it was like, okay, I'm a facilitator.
Yeah.
I'm not a shooter, even though he can, obviously.
He is like the last like floor general kind of on the
very much
in the league
and
right
I think
now.
that's what helped the Suns was Chris Paul's stability in his play, being that floor general. Because the Clippers couldn't get around it because the Clippers didn't have as many weapons as the Suns had. They had Blake Griffin and they had Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, they didn't have as many like shooters.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like JJ Redick came off the bench, Jamal Crawford came off the bench.
Like that was Griffin's thing, right? Like they were Lob City, but Lob City only gets you so far when you have to go up against like the Warriors
or even the Thunder at that point.
The guys who will just drain threes on you all day.
Lob
Lob
City.
City's only gonna go so far. But when you put like that was the thing. Like Devin Booker's a good player, but he wasn't reaching his potential with the ball in his hands all the time.
Very much, yeah.
Now being able to play off ball,
because weren't they kind of putting him like he's the shooting guard, but they were also kind of making him the one a little bit.
Yeah, it was basically what Luka it does for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
He was basically taking it down the court every single time.
Yeah, and it's just like that's not his game.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, but just not yet. Like there's very few guys right out of college who are ready to go ahead and just like
because when Booker was there, Eric Bledsoe was still there a little bit towards the end of his Suns run, and Eric Bledsoe was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was just he's not Chris Paul,
no.
And I think that helps your point. I can't wait to see Parker tomorrow. I think that helps your point. It's like they've had a point guard that was more of a facilitator type, but he wasn't CP3, and it just didn't go over well. So. It's interesting.
And then the other NBA news is the MVP finalists were released.
Yep.
Where it is, of course, Nikola Jokic,
Woo!
Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time we've had 3 big men as finalists. Usually there's like a guard or something
Honestly,
thrown
I'm being
in there.
honest, big men are taking over the game,
True.
in my opinion. Because I feel like they're taking over the game because it's kind of like being running back in the NFL. You have to do in this day and age. When you're running back, it's I just run.
You have to catch. You have to run. You have to pass block. You have to
do everything, right? In the NBA, if you're a big man, you gotta be able to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be able to shoot. And honestly, we've lost, and I don't say lost in a bad way, folks. I'm saying we've moved away from. Honestly, you want to talk about the last something? Dwight Howard was the last of. We need, the bulky style of center. Now it's like, dude,
Gobert is still kind of like that,
but he's more lanky in the sense of he's tall, but he's not built like a Dwight Howard or a Charles.
Right, but he's
Oakley.
still that interior defenseman.
Well, yeah, we've moved more to and Giannis is built, but it's more of a. But you could be lanky. You need to be able to move up and down the floor. No Shaq where it's like. You need to be able to move up and down the floor.
Or bless his heart, Dirk. That awkward run where it's like 1 foot just kind of.
But when he'd pull up, that thing was crisper. Ooh, then
that
McDonald's
thing was going about 30 feet in the air,
and it's
and
coming
you didn't know
down.
when it was going to come down, but it was going to come down in the bucket.
That shot was crisper than a McDonald's Sprite. But
That's true.
It's one of those things.
Spicy Sprite.
Yeah, boy, I tell you. But no, it's one of those things where it's like the game is changing now. Like. Honestly, if you want to make it in the NBA and get your name out there in college or in now, you got to play power forward, dude. In my opinion, that's the position that gets the most buzz. Because,
or a center that can stretch the floor.
Boom. Because when you're one of those, in my opinion, especially a power forward, you get to do pretty much anything. When I say anything you want, what I mean is if you're the team shooter, that looks good because you're at least 6'10" or however tall you are, and you can shoot. So you've got the size. You can work in the paint. You can play defense. That's what I'm saying. If you're a power forward, you have every opportunity to make as big a name for yourself as you want to as possible, which I think is I think it's great because we're moving away from the shooting guard is usually the star, because that's more of MJ's era thing where it's like him, Kobe, even Kevin Durant, even though it's more like small forward.
I mean, Clyde Drexler.
Clyde the Glide, stuff like that. So, it's one of those things where it's like you have more of an opportunity now as a big man to be a breakout star, because it's kind of like everything's happening in reverse. Because like when it started, like the NBA became more popular, it was like the Wilt Chamberlains and the Hakeem Olajuwons, even though that was a little later, and Kareem and stuff like that. And then it moved to and then it moved to more, the Michael Jordans, LeBron Jameses, Dwayne Wades, and stuff like that. Shooting guard, small forward.
And, then it kind of started, because it was shooting guards, and then small forwards kind of started taking over the Durant. And even LeBron was like a small forward when he started.
Small forward.
And now we're kind of cycling back towards the big man.
Guy thing. So
that's an interesting look at that. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah, because it's everything's just kind of circling back around, and so we're gonna get to a point where point guard starts becoming the most important thing. So it's.
You think so? Because I think arguably, the thing about the point guard was like back in the day, it was the person that dribbled and was the floor general, right?
Yeah.
Now you just have your best player dribble, basically, because everybody can dribble. You just have your best player dribble up the court, and like the coach calls the plays.
Yeah.
There's not really that, like Chris Paul's the only floor general left.
But now, exactly, because like you said, now point guards have to be like. Honestly, if you're not a good scorer as a point guard, I mean, hey, it may help your team style. Maybe you getting 18 points, but like 12 assists is the most important thing. But there's a difference between assisting to actually assist and assisting to get a triple-double, Russ. I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all. And then the last part of the weekend roundup, I thought this was interesting. I don't know how much you follow soccer, but Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 50th hat trick of his club career, 60th overall over the weekend, which puts him well above Lionel Messi in the active overall hat trick club.
Yeah.
But still well behind Pele, who had 92 hat tricks overall. I was like, well, I had no idea he had 92. I mean, I knew he was good, but that's kind of like Bill Russell level of, or like Wilt Chamberlain level of good that you just don't really think about that.
No, you don't.
Because when you think about for us, right, Ronaldo and Messi are like the best players in the world and arguably the greatest of all time for us, right?
Mm.
But that's because we didn't watch Pele, who put up 92 hat tricks. This man could score. But we didn't know that because we weren't watching.
I think soccer is one of those, you have to watch soccer for the time that you're in. Because, it's not basketball where people are going to go back and be like, oh, man, this 1990s soccer game was just, no. Because in the 90s, people were watching football, basketball, and wrestling, baseball, and boxing. They weren't going to go back and look at a 90s soccer game. Nobody cared. So, excuse me. So, I get that. And, I just think personally with soccer, it's one of those things where when you're into it as a fan, and you can kind of see those things like you talked about, where it's like, these guys are greatness, but think about who came before them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Plus, honestly, I feel like soccer, hockey, and NASCAR, to me, are the ones where, even baseball a little bit, but baseball, it's a little bit more like football. In the sense of when you talk about stars being created, it seems like every year, UFC too. So soccer, hockey, NASCAR, and UFC, those four are the four sports that I feel like every year there's always the new guy on the block that's the new star. When it's soccer, it was like Messi and Ronaldo, and then one year was like this African guy who plays for team who's on the British team Manchester, and it's I can't remember his name, but
Pogba.
Yes. And it's just stuff where it's and then the NHL, it's like, oh, this new guy is like lighting the ice on fire. I hope it doesn't melt and turn to a swimming pool. Stuff like that. Or, UFC. This seems like every year there's this new UFC fighter. It's like, my God, you guys got to watch out for this guy. In football, it's always like when you're the star, it's usually you're consistently more the star.
I think that's also because like soccer being a more worldwide thing.
Yeah.
There's also like for American football, there's the NFL.
Yep.
And that's it. For baseball, yeah, the Japanese league and the Korean leagues are kind of up there, but it's not like the MLB.
We're talking realistically and getting ratings.
Yeah, it's not.
Stuff.
It's not the MLB. The MLB is considered the best.
Yes.
Same thing with the NHL and the NBA. MLS is nowhere near the best in terms of like overall skill compared to most of the leagues in Europe. I don't know about South America, but like for sure they come nowhere near the Premier League or La Liga or Bundesliga or I don't remember which one the French league is, or the Italian league Serie A. They are nowhere near that much. So you always hear it like because we don't follow soccer as much here and because our thing is MLS here, we don't always hear about the big names coming out until they've already made it. Whereas like here in the NFL, because we have college here, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
There's so many like lower, like minor quote unquote leagues in Europe and Africa and South America and even Central America. There's so many academies and stuff. Like we don't see those guys, but we see the college football guys that we know that they're like that. There are stars that we know of, but we don't know about any of these guys over here because there's just so many leagues to keep track of.
Yep.
Such a worldwide sport.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's your weekend roundup. All the happenings from the past weekend. Again, brought to you by LeBron James hairline. No gain.
No gain. If you want to lose your hairline, if you want to look like Charles Barkley, let's be honest, folks, nobody should want to.
That's terrible.
No gain.
That's terrible.
According to Charles Barkley's source, San Antonio women. So,
wow.
Hey, his words, not mine.
All right, well, let's take a break, and we will stick on to Jersey Talk again. Round 2, Electric Boogaloo. Part of that music. That's not how that's supposed to sound. Anyway, we're going to be taking a break, and then we will come back, talk NFL jerseys in the modern era. Don't go anywhere.
Boom.
Welcome back to the main event. Woo! Ryan Baldwin's still here with me, Jeffers.
Woo!
And we are moving on with Jersey Talk. Last
week, have on one right now.
College, I do have a Dallas Stars, the neon green alternates. I don't think we can do hockey because you're not a big hockey guy. But we did college football last week. This week, quote unquote modern NFL. So anything post 2000s.
Quote unquote.
Well, because some people may have a different idea of what modern is. So
yeah,
for our purposes, modern is going to be after 2000.
Okay, so 2001. Because technically that's
2000s, including.
Yeah.
But, okay, so you went first last week. I'll go first this week. We're going to start with the best.
Okay.
I think you're not going to like my number 3.
We'll see.
Because based on your college football jerseys.
Okay, listen, man.
You hate the classics. And let me tell you.
If this is...
The Las Vegas Raiders got classics.
Oh, you're right. I do hate you.
I told you.
I hate it.
There's something about the black and gray that's just so simple, yet just like, And the Raiders, they haven't changed the Raiders logo in like decade. I don't know if they've ever changed the Raiders logo, but it fits well. The whole ensemble is good. I love the black on gray. Raiders number 3. Plus, I mean, I'm just not a big fan of really of any of the NFL alternates. So none of those really made my list. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. None of the alternates really made my list. Number 2.
Okay.
I think this is partially a homer call, but the Dallas Cowboys got clean uniforms, and it's also another classic.
I'm not gonna knock it.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Cowboys uniform, so
yeah. The blue's nice.
Yeah.
The combinations. So I guess the only thing is I got to figure out which Cowboys one is best. I think I just like the simple, like two-stripe ones. So here's here's a picture. I think I like just the two-stripe one here instead of the one stripe with the star because that's kind of weird. And this little like half sleeve with stars kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I think I just like the plain two-stripe on the shoulders there. The blue, white, silver.
Yeah, I got you.
It's overall a clean look.
Honestly, when I play Madden with the Cowboys, you know those white helmets that they have when it's like the white with the blue star in the middle?
Yeah.
So I usually put that on. I put that on that one because it matches and it looks good. So,
and then my number one,
which I saw, was
especially they updated them in 2020, and the San Diego Chargers I think have like over in terms of just home away, overall, I think they've got the best. I like the bolt looks cleaner now.
Yeah.
The bigger bolt on the pants legs and the jersey shoulders look really good. They've got the number on the helmet as well.
Yeah.
And I think even like looking at this picture, even the dark color ones, like I think it's like a dark like a really dark blue, maybe. I'm colorblind. I don't know. So take all this with a grain of salt. But like that far right one
Chargers.
there.
Okay, so let me see. So for me, so which one did you say was your favorite?
I think that one's pretty good, but I think overall my favorite. I'm not a big fan of the yellow pants right here, so I think just the blue.
I think the yellow pants. Again, I like yellow. I think the yellow pants are good when it's this, but when it's like right here, it's like
Yeah, okay.
It's a little much because the yellow and the blue go together really well. But when it's like yellow,
the white and yellow,
like, my favorite, honestly,
the navy's pretty sharp.
That one's fire. I love this. And then this is really good. I always love the navy. Like I love the old school charts where they had the blue helmet.
Right.
And then like, oh, that stuff is crisp.
So I think the Chargers updated uniforms are top tier. I think they're the best in the league. And again, I'm not a big fan of really any of the alternates or the color rushes. So yeah, I just kind of went the general home away here. So that'll be my top three. Raiders classic, Cowboys classic, and Chargers updated is 10 out of 10.
Okay, what's your worst?
So the worst.
Or do you want me to go with my best?
I can go worst if you want. The worst I do have. So I've got like 5 different ones.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do best. So in case we have some crossover on the worst.
Okay.
Why don't you do your best real quick?
Okay. So and you can pull them up because the phone is dying on me. So we have one of the same Chargers on mine just because I like the Chargers when they go all white. Like when the Chargers go solid color all together, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I dig that. This is going to be a shocker. And and here, folks, it's because of the way I use them in Madden, so I'm going to have to explain it, but you're not going to believe this, but Detroit Lions.
Which ones?
So for one, I love the new helmet that they have where like it's chrome silver in the front, and like I honestly like they're all grays. Like I feel like when they, I'm just saying, man, like the all grays are good to me. You pulled it. Okay, look, man, I'm just saying, dude.
No, I don't. It's funny for a different reason.
Why is it funny?
Because I have them as the all grays specifically as one of my worst.
I get that.
You talked about bland in your last one. You want to talk bland?
But I mean, okay. So besides all grays, because with Detroit it works. But look, like right here. You see what I'm saying? Like right there.
Sure.
Like, or when they go like all blue, that stuff is fire. Now they don't win in any of this.
I mean, I'll give you that, but specifically the grays are just so like. They've only got like a little bit of like blue on the shoulder, which I think is like somehow even worse, even though it's supposed to kind of highlight like the helmet. I have the all grays as actually one of my least favorite uniforms on there. That's why I was laughing.
I'm so dead.
All right, what's your other top ones?
There's I love the Chicago Bears Michigan style ones that they have. I think they pull it off better than Michigan, if I'm being completely honest with you. I just like that style.
The shoulder stripes on there work too.
I don't know, the stripes kind of work for me.
Yeah.
And like I love the Michigan style.
Now the one thing I got to go against on here, the socks.
Oh yeah.
The barber pole socks don't cut. It's because these are like I see these as like the shoulder and the helmet is like vertical stripes,
And then socks.
and the socks are kind of like horizontal stripes. So it's not like the same kind of
got
deal, you know.
But I think that looks better on socks than, straight, because we see what the Denver socks are like when they go like straight down.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh.
I'd rather just have like a solid color sock, I think, on that one.
Yeah.
But I do like the stripes on the shoulder, and I think the helmets are pretty cool.
Yeah. And then my final one for best, and Cowboys Nation, I'm sorry.
Don't you say Giants?
Oh, God.
Don't you say Eagles?
God, no. I can't. It's not what they're called anymore, but the Washington team, when they have those yellow, like the old school, when they had the yellow helmets with the red R.
Before they were the
yeah,
before
but I'm
they
just
were
not going to use that name because no, I just refuse. Again, it's the way I use them in Madden. And my favorite color is yellow, but like the way I use them in Madden is like, let me see. Yeah, it's just more modernized, but yeah, that right there, because that's like, again, I'm going off of what I've seen from Madden.
Right,
yeah,
so
right there, like
it's like a throwback. Looks like
it's throwback. Okay, because like, look, okay, you have this, and with the way I use it in Madden,
I found this website real quick. Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can pull it up from here. So that would have been before they were the football team. Last time would have been 2019, but it would have been, you said yellow helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Found one from 07. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like that updated one there.
Boom, exactly.
Yeah.
So what I do in Madden, and it's the reason why I like it, is because you put like yellow on. Boy, that stuff is fire right there. So you got the yellow helmet, you got the yellow jersey, you got the yellow pants. Again, that's me. But anyway, just like I've always liked this. Like I've seen Clinton Portis in this. Like that was when I saw the original, and I was like, man, that stuff actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I've just always kind of been a fan of that.
I think the helmet is kind of cool.
Yeah, I dig the helmet a lot, and it's kind of like we talked about with the Baylor Bear, the gold chrome, or even the Notre Dame, the gold chrome, and it just accentuates the outfit. So
fair.
Yeah.
All right, now moving on to worst. We've already discussed. I do not like the Lions grays, man.
Which I'm not going to knock you for. I'm not going to defend Detroit all that much.
Another one I have on there, and I'm pretty sure you probably have on this one, the Pittsburgh Steelers Bumblebee.
I have to see it because Pittsburgh has so many different. Oh, you're not gonna like me for this one.
Do you like that one?
Okay. Let me explain. Do I like the tan pants? Absolutely not. If they were black pants, I think it'd be better. But I mean, it's not the worst in my opinion. Oh, my bad.
Naked.
It's not the worst in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, because like this. I don't think they should keep that helmet. I always change the helmet when I do this outfit in Madden. I always have, because even Steelers, the Steelers, when they have their all yellow helmet with like the gray face mask.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I use for this because it's yellow on yellow, and then I use the black pants. The socks, I get it, are just like, But but here's what I'll say. I can understand why people wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of visually like,
yeah.
But the tan pants, no, I hate tan pants.
And something, what the other thing that bothers me?
Yeah.
Is the numbers surrounded by white, like in a white box. You see that right there? But also, when there's two numbers, it's two different white boxes. Look at the 78 right there.
Oh, you're right.
It's a white box there, and the 7 is separate from the 8. It's not even like one big box. That's another one where I'm just like,
that is kind of gross.
That's just why. Who decided that it was a good idea? And then I've got some honorable mentions we'll discuss after yours, but my number one is anything with the Jacksonville Jaguars two-tone helmet.
The two-tone was bad.
The two-tone is really bad. Black in the front, gold in the back, with the panther halfway between.
It's not even like good gold. It's like faded gold.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah.
And to be on, the one thing I will give it is the kind of like messy kind of I don't know what you would call it, but the messy kind of transition there.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying.
Cool,
it's like it's faded in a sense.
Like I kind of like the bleed in between the black and the gold, but overall the two-tone helmet, I was just like, especially because like the black almost looks matte.
That's what I'm saying.
And the back looks chrome. Yeah, and the gold is chrome. So I was, I'm just sometimes helmets can just completely destroy it, and that just completely ruins it for me.
Yeah, it's just yeah, that's
Two-tones are just
two-tones.
The two-tone is. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a good two-tone helmet. It's really hard.
No, I haven't either, to be honest. No. For me, I mean, and like you said, I'm glad we got honorable mentions because there's a lot of stuff that could go for best that I just thought about. Next on the list, for worst, let me explain this to you. Let me put it to you like this. All right.
Okay.
New Orleans Saints get some better uniforms. My God, that stuff's ugly.
What?
Okay, no. Let me specify.
Is there a specific one that you don't like?
The ones that Archie Manning used to wear, where it's like the gold and that symbol in black is just. And it's
I thought we were doing.
That is worse. Like it's
No, I
blown
thought we were
out.
doing after 2000.
Well, they still wear them. That's the thing. They still wear them. It's just that's when it was created. But it's kind of like the Washington one that you found where they've worn it modern times still. But it's like, God, I hate that uniform.
Okay.
I mean, look at it.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at them all right now. It's just I don't see it's the black and gold, man.
It's black. Okay,
Here's the 2021 combos.
Yeah. So like the 2021 combos are good. Nah, man, that's not it. You haven't seen them. I'm telling you. You haven't seen, because I know they still wear them. Or at least they should. If they don't, I really messed that up.
Which
It's
yeah. So how are you describing it?
so it's gold, but it's like, okay, have you ever seen the Saints uniforms where it's like it's still the gold helmet, but it's like outlined in like brown and like the emblem is like really blown up, like it's bigger. Instead of it just being that faint, black, it's like a lot bigger.
I don't think I have.
You would have to go back and search up the old, because they're the older ones, but I've seen them wear in modern times and they don't look good.
Is it? That's a replica helmet. Is it okay? So is it this one from the 60s?
Yep, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Okay.
That style. Look at it. Tell me that looks good. That style. That's what I'm talking about.
I agree with you on it. I've just never seen them wear it.
Yeah,
But then again, that would require me to watch a Saints game. I'm sorry, all my Baton Rouge fans that probably aren't listening. I'm sorry, but I'm not watching the New Orleans Saints right now.
Yeah. So especially when they canceled Dallas games for them.
Okay, well I'll give you that one. I guess I was not a fan of the helmet, but I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah. Let me think. The other ones that I'm not a fan of, I'm gonna be honest here. I gotta bring it real low, because this is how low this is for me.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say this. Why do the Green Bay Packers have a blue jersey in their uniform lineup? It doesn't make any sense.
They do?
Yep.
Where?
I mean, that's not even the worst one. I was making a joke, but no, they actually do.
That must be a Madden one, because I'm looking.
No,
at
I'm being serious, bro. Like every jersey, man, is stuff that they've worn. Ooh, I thought of it, because I always did hate them. They've changed them now.
Okay.
Yeah,
the old school one.
Yeah,
that one's. I mean, that's like that's a way back retro.
Yeah,
one.
I know. I'm just saying, and that they don't wear those anymore, so that's why I was like, that's not the legit one. But the St. Louis Rams, their stuff, like not now, obviously, but that's still modern.
Actual
but the
St. Louis Rams.
But St. Louis Rams, you talk about uninspiring, and you talk about to go from the outstanding like Las Vegas blue and yellow to go to the
I mean, so they were Los Angeles Rams, then 95 went to St. Louis.
Yeah, and then to go to like that.
Is it? What do you think about the I don't know what you would call that, the tan pants, like the Greatest Show on Turf era Rams?
Let me see. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You don't like that?
Just like, it's not.
Okay,
nah.
You prefer just the straight blue and yellow that they got now?
Because look at the Los Angeles Rams with the uniforms that they've been able to get since they went back to blue and yellow. Their stuff is fire.
Okay.
that
you like the lighter blue over the navy,
that
I
stuff
guess.
is just uninspiring.
Okay. Well, I can see that, I guess. The tan is always an interesting choice. I think tan pants work out almost never.
Never, because it's like khaki pants. It's like khaki pants or khaki
and they just
short.
don't really go very well with anything.
No, they don't. It's just
because then you get like it doesn't go anything, and then in the case of the greatest show on turf Rams, you got to like match the lining of the jersey and the highlights of the jersey to the tan.
Yeah,
and it just like looks kind of meh. So I'm picking up what you're putting down there.
Yeah, it's
all right.
so uninspiring.
Let me go through my honorable mentions for worsts, because the Giants have always been blue, right?
Yeah.
So
and their stuff sucks.
and they kept the blue jersey, but for some reason a red alternate or the blue helmet with a red alternate jersey and tan pants again.
Yes.
It's the tan pants, but this one especially
it's more gray tan, but still it's
blue helmet, red jersey, tan pants.
It's so bad
for a Giants team. Like the Giants have always been.
I wish Jennifer was here. That stuff.
I bet she would agree.
Yeah, probably.
We'll have to ask her.
I don't think
she
would babyface any of this stuff.
Man,
that stuff sucks.
That was awful. Like, why would you like? Okay, and then speaking of, this one's the backwards. Like the bull. I did it again, man. The Bills. The Bills in like the early 2000s had a navy blue jersey and like red helmet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I like the Bills stuff
now, sure, but like
even when Marshawn was when you had the red helmet instead, like
the red helmet's fine, but I don't like it with
the blue.
With the blue.
Okay, I get that.
Because it's just the opposite of the Giants.
Exactly. Yeah, because I prefer if it was red on red.
Yeah, or even if you have like a blue stripe right here, maybe instead of a red stripe. But man, that's just
it's honestly, bro. I'm not
lackluster.
The Jets have some great stuff though, like. Currently, like the green chrome and then the all white helmet and stuff like that. And then the Jets have some clean stuff. Again, they don't win in them. Oh, Carolina's the team that's got some crappy stuff too. The Panther stuff.
Oh, you know how I feel about powder blue.
Yeah, that Panther stuff sucks.
What do you think about the all black Jets uniform? Since you were talking about the Jets,
I like them. I think it works because they have a helmet, even though there's no black in it, but it's that green chrome and it accentuates with the chrome green in the middle.
Okay,
so it works. But yeah, I mean, I like even the throwback where it's like the blue and brown type stuff. Denver's, well,
I think
the Broncos kind of have.
Okay,
good
so
stuff.
I think the Carolina in black and Carolina in white, fine.
It's that powder blue.
It's that powder blue, and even I don't mind the powder blue in like the the highlights right here, kind of. I don't mind that right there so much, but when you start getting up here
to where
into just like mostly powder blue,
sucks.
Yeah, the powder blue top,
the
black
powder
bottom.
blue black pants. That stuff. It looks so tacky. I hate that. Like personally, that is one of my least favorite of all time.
Sorry, Carolina fans, but you're stuck with Sam Darnold in that crappy combination for a while. Okay, you got any other honorable mentions for best?
Vikings. The Viking stuff this year has been pretty good. I'm a sucker for anything that's got yellow in it, man. And the Vikings purple and yellow and
as I'm finding out, yes.
Yeah, it's my favorite color. What can I say? The Viking stuff has been pretty good.
I think the 49ers actually have a pretty decent set too.
They're meh for me. Like I don't hate it.
Here's the thing.
But I don't love it.
I know I don't like the color rush, but the 49ers color rush where it's the like all black with the red trim right there.
I like that. Think that's fire.
That's the only color rush where I'm like, oh man, okay, they killed that one.
Yeah.
Like I think the worst color rush has got to be Seattle's, where it's like that lime green, nasty, just. And then the helmet color is still the same. It's such a bad. Let me see if I can find that one. Oh, and then yeah. How about the vomit that is this New York Jet? Not New the Miami Dolphins.
It could be worse,
but it's like orange ? I don't even know what color that is. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm colorblind, but like.
I'm dead.
I don't even know what that is. Okay, so the color rush, I'll take that back. There's a couple of color rushes that are pretty good. I like this Broncos color rush as well. Like that one right there.
Yeah.
With the old
that's
Denver.
fire. That's dope.
But man, it's just some of these like are like they don't look any different. Like the Packers are just like white with like the same helmet.
Yeah, the Packers color rush is.
The Buccaneers, they just went all red instead.
But I will say the Buccaneers, where it's got, and they still wear these, where it's the orangey yellow with the white. You know, the one with the actual pirate on it.
Yeah, that's retro.
That stuff is dope.
I do like the retro one. Oh yeah. Oh, so here's. Well, and speaking of Rams, though, what do you think about the white?
I don't like
instead of
it
that
because
yellow?
it's like, okay, this is white up here. Why is this there? Like, why are we still doing tan?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, I think that was LA Rams.
Yeah, this is this is LA.
Yeah.
This is that needs to be white. Like, I don't or better yet, since the jersey's already white, just have that blue with the white outline.
Fair
Why
enough.
is that tan?
But
No,
like,
that sucks.
Man, Seattle, like
Seattle's
bright.
I like that.
I wouldn't be horribly upset with it if the helmet had anything to do with anything down here, you know?
Yeah, they literally because
You still have the old like green
because
or
here's the
Seahawk thing in there.
They did it based off the eye. You see the eye in the Seahawk, and
Bruh,
you know
how
how
am I
that's
supposed to-
lime green.
Man, if you're basing a color off the
That's
eye,
what they're doing.
I know, but like that's a terrible decision. Like,
Well,
how many people look at a Seahawks helmet and go, "Man, I never noticed that eye's lime green before."
Yeah, it's
Probably none.
none, not really. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they saw that and they were just like,
We can do a color off of that one.
probably, yeah.
All right.
I'm trying to think other ones. I like very much the
See, here's the thing about I don't think that
Patriots retro, where it's the white helmet and it's like the red,
Yeah.
white, and blue. It's not the Giants' crappy red, white, and blue.
I don't think that in terms of strict home away, I don't think any of them have like. I don't think any NFL team has outright bad uniforms. Like-
No, because home and away is just it's a more traditional thing.
Yeah. So
Well, no, the Bengals stuff sucks, but
what? I mean, but it's not how you're saying it sucks. Like just the straight up home and away stuff.
no,
sucks?
not the home and away stuff.
Like, see, that's the thing is like when I'm looking at these, when I was looking at them, I'm like, okay, it's hard to find like bad ones because I'm like none of these actually are like outright bad.
No.
you know. So finding some of these like that are like the one offs are can be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just that's the other thing too is like for me at least there's very few of them that really stand out above the crowd now too, just because like the home and aways are so like basic and don't change very much.
Well, see, that's the thing. You can't really go off of a home or away jersey and be like, oh, it's crap. Because I mean, those, like I said, that's where the class comes in. It's really based on like some of the alternative styles that they have and will wear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like some people think the Brown stuff is fire, their alternate stuff. And it's not really that bad. It's just really the Browns didn't really add any color. They just more so highlighted, the black in like the helmets and stuff. And I mean, it looks good. So, I mean, it just kind of depends. I mean, if you like wearing, dung beetle brown, then, Speaking of which, folks, this segment was sponsored by Dung Beetles. If you want a pet dung beetle, go to dungbeetles.com.
Don't go to dungbeetles.com. I do not know what is at dungbeetles.com, and I'm not going to look it up on my computer just because I don't know and I don't want to know. But
Ryan loves dung beetles.
we here at the main event did not actually endorse you going to the dungbeetle.com.
I mean, hey, just go to dungbeetle.com, check out what they have, their selections.
All right, well that'll do it here for us at the main event. Ryan Baldwin with Scatman once again.
Thank you,
Scatman. Checking out from the Green Studio deep in the heart of Denton, Texas. Thank you, Dan Ball and Mark Lambert, for letting us use this one. Until next